The article for this week's discussion board is entitled When Work Disappears by William Julius Wilson. This article is in reference to what the author sees as the reasons for low unemployment, low-paying jobs, work in the suburbs, and public housing issues. The author first gives some statistics for the years 1987 to 1989 for a low-experienced male worker. The author also claims that the dropout rate was more than twice as high in the late 1980s versus the 1960s. Most of the unemployment, according to the author, is due to the economy's quick expansion in high technology and services, but he also notes that the construction has not kept up with transition. This contributes, therefore, to loss of work overall in the mass production system in the United States. The author basically states that he thinks the economy's sluggish decline, which in turn causes plants to shut down, banks to lose business, which makes then jobs less available and harder to come by, and lower paying in general are all a result of this transition. Wilson then notes that the better paying jobs are more often found in the suburbs outside of the metropolitan areas because the land itself was cheaper to obtain for companies to buy it and then develop and produce the more technologically advanced jobs. This process resulted in some people, mostly being minorities, not being able to afford the transportation to work outside the city in these areas. The issue about public housing also comes into play because most of the minorities who live in public housing can't afford transportation. The government at one time adopted the idea of public housing after the Great Depression to help the very needy. This process that the government used worked for the most part, but has suffered since its beginning or inception. This decline in part is due to a lack of funding by the government and other organizations such as the FHA, who do not want to give out substantial loans to minorities. Accordingly, the author indicates that one of the major facilitators of problems with our society today is the lack of jobs, and that certainly I think most people would indicate that on surveys today, that the economy and the lack of jobs is the number one problem. The moving of jobs out of the cities and sometimes out of the country reinforces the rift between the haves and the have-nots, the rich and the poor. Minorities and those of low socioeconomic statuses are the ones that need the jobs, and these very jobs that they need are being outsourced the most. This continues a perpetual cycle of poverty that is hard to break out from and will continue to be a drain on resources until we can get everyone an opportunity to be employed. So these are some of my thoughts about the points made by William Julius Wilson in his article, When Work Disappears. I hope this helps you as you formulate your response and post it to the discussion board.